What is theology? Theology means literally discourse concerning the gods, thus Hesiod, Homer, Plato, and others were called theologians, because their writings contain so much about the gods. The word is from theos equals God, and logos equals a discourse. It was adopted by the Christian fathers, and applied to biblical truth. The word is variously defined as the science of God, the science of the supernatural, the science of religion, the science which treats of the existence, character, and attributes of God, His laws and govern. Meant, the doctrines we are to believe, and the duties we are to practice. 2. What is religion? The word is derived from the Latin veligere equals to reconsider, or from veligere equals to bind fast. The latter is the more generally accepted derivation. It is the disposition and conduct of man, impelled by motives of hopes and fears, towards a power conceived as above man, or as the active and passive relations of the finite consciousness towards an unknown, or as the recognition of the relation of man to the invisible. 3. What is religion as revealed in the sacred scriptures? Or, as it is sometimes called, supernatural religion? Religion is the life of man in personal communication with one. Mulford's The Republic of God, STH edition, p. 40. Max Miller defines religion as a mental faculty which, independent of, nay, in spite of, sense and reason, enables man to apprehend the infinite under different names and under varying disguises. An intuition of God, a sense of human weakness and dependence, a belief in divine government of the world, a distinction between good and evil, and a hope of a better life. These are some of the radical elements of all religions. Herbert Spencer says, religion may be defined as an a priori theory of the universe, First Principles, pp. 43, 44. Matthew Arnold's definition is, religion is morality touched with emotion, Literatura 1.d Dogma, Popular Edition, p. 16. God. An acknowledgement of our duties towards the Ta of God. The recognition of all our duties as if they were divine commands. It is strictly the bond, vetigare, which, in the very constitution of his nature, unites man to God, faith that he is, and consciousness of dependence and obligation. Religion has its seat in the heart, its presence there is exhibited in a godlike life. It is the life of God in the soul of man manifesting itself daily in practical morality. Separation between personal religion and practical morality is impossible. For is not the term religion often used to describe the truths which it teaches, as well as the conduct which it requires? It is frequently used in this sense. With the first Christians, Christianity, meaning thereby the truths and doctrines of Christianity, and religion were identical. The apologies of Justin Martyr, Tertullian, and others, were directed to prove that Christianity, taught in the sacred scriptures, was the only religion which could satisfy man's spiritual wants. Was there no religion before divine revelation? The revelation of God to man is twofold, natural and supernatural. The great book of nature has always been open to the study of man, and from it he has been able to learn the existence of a supreme being, upon whom he is dependent, and to whom he owes obedience and worship. This is called natural religion. Christianity is one of many religions, but of all these it is the one most worthy of God, if, indeed, it is not the only one worthy of him. 6. What is the distinction between religion and theology? One religion is experimental, and has reference to the heart and life. Theology is scientific. A theologian may be acquainted intellectually with systematic religious knowledge without possessing religion registered. A religious man is a theologian so far as his knowledge of God, his nature, his will, and his word are correct. 2. Natural theology treats of the being, attributes, and superintendene 1 Oesterzi's Christian Dogmatics, p. 76. See General v. 24, 15. 1, 17. 1, Exei. 12, also Deuteronomy 6. 5, Hab il, 4, Rom 12. 15 1s I-27. 2 Kant, 2 Pope's Higher Catechism of Theology. Asterisk Rom. I-19-21, Acts 14. 17, 17. 23-209 asterisk Religion in ordinary language is used, a. as indicating the object or subject of belief, 6. as the power of belief, c. as the manifestation of belief. Thus, we believe religious truth, we experience religious feelings or emotions, we live religious lives. The mental faculty which lies at the root of religion appears to be universal, for in some sort man universally recognizes some object of belief and worship, and a definite course of life and conduct, as the result of that belief. Plutarch says, a city without a temple, without worship, without prayers, no one ever saw. Cicero writes, there never was any nation so barbarous, nor any people in the world so savage, as to be without some notion of gods. This is be looked upon as a law of nature. This is true of the most degraded tribes Ode. Registered C. Drummond's Natural Law in the Spiritual Word, pp. 362-65. Tenets of God, as these are taught by nature. It is the knowledge of God from his works by the light of nature. 3. Christian theology or theology proper deals with, 1. The evidences which prove the sacred scriptures to be a divinely inspired revelation to man, 2. The proper interpretation of these scriptures. 3. The discoveries which they make to us of God, his nature, attributes, relations to, and dealings with, man. 4. Of man, his relations and duties to God and to his fellow men. 5. Of the future life, with its rewards and punishments. 7. What are the sources of this theology? 1. Reason is an original faculty given by God to individual man, and knows for natural revelation can be given which is not addressed to him, a. as a rational being, and through the channel of his reason, and 4. as consistent with the unbiased deductions of reason, acting posses within its own sphere. 2. But reason has, by all experience, been proved to be insufficient to guide man as to his life and conduct. God has, therefore, put into our hands a supernatural and sufficient revelation of himself, and the relations which he bears to us, and we to him. It follows, therefore, that the ground and source of our theological knowledge is his inspired word, as revealed to us in the sacred scriptures. 3. Nevertheless, as this revelation is addressed to our understanding, including heart and conscience, its evidences are to be judged and authenticated by our intellectual faculties, and the record itself interpreted by our reason, according to its own laws. 8. Is there not a danger of reason diverging into rationalism? There certainly is, and this is one of the great perils of the present day, and of modern criticism. By reason is meant that faculty of the human mind by which man arrives at truth without any supersensuous aid. This implies his understanding, conscience, and experience, all acting under natural circumstances. The use of this faculty of reason in matters of religion is, 1. To examine and decide upon the evidences of divine revelation, 2. To ascertain by the application of the established laws of interpretation to the sacred writings what are the truths therein revealed, 3. Having determined that certain truths and doctrines are revealed, to accept them upon the authority of God, even though they may be mysterious, or may appear not to be in accordance with human wisdom. The question in regard to any fact or doctrine is not, is it reasonable, but first of all, is it clearly established? That NEEEES1 the faculty of ideas, not separate from, but most closely united with, the heart and conscience. 4. To reason is that intellectual power by which we apprehend and discover truth. Whether contained in the first principles of belief, or in the arguments and conclusions from these principles, by which truth not intuitive is investigated, Oester c. Being so, the province of reason ceases, and faith comes in. Reason cannot pronounce upon the reasonableness or otherwise of any statement of divine revelation which reason itself has decided to be clearly revealed in Scripture. to improve revelation by means of reason, says Dr. John Duncan, appears to me just as if I were to try and set the sun by my old wooden clock. 9. What is rationalism? 1. Rationalism, strictly so called, is the dogma which insists that there is no higher source of knowledge than reason. It involves the denial of divine revelation in the proper sense of the word, and, of course, rejects miracles and prophecy. Hence inspiration is either denied, or regarded as the enthusiasm of genius. The scriptures are reduced to the level of other writings of genius. What in them appears to be miraculous or supernatural is interpreted as the result of natural laws. 2. In a wider sense, rationalism embraces the various forms of skepticism and unbelief which are held by those who deny supernatural knowledge. X. What are the principal forms which rationalism has taken? Pantheism, agnosticism, positivism, secularism, materialism, deism, atheism. 1. Pantheism, from pan equals all, and theos equals God, is the doctrine that God includes all reality, and is identical with it, nothing besides him really existing. He is the one and the all. Asterisk. Besides God no substance can exist, or be conceived to exist. Asterisk. All is God, or God is all. The universe is God, or God is the universe. The God of pantheism is not a being who can will, and think, and love, but an essence pervading and permeating all things, which can be no object of trust, or love, or worship. It is a kind of atheism, which makes God and the universe identical, and, consequently, denies the existence of a personal God, and his superintendence and sovereignty over the universe. Registered 2. Positivism teaches, 1. That all our knowledge is confined to physical phenomena, 2. That we can only know that such phenomena are, and the relations which we stand to them, which relations are all included under the head of sequence and resemblance. The senses are the true source of all thinking, and we can know nothing except the phenomena which they apprehend. See Watson's Institutes, PTI, Chap. 9, on the use and limit of reason. Finite reason must submit itself to infinite, the never fully educated human understanding, limited by time, matter, and individuality, must yield to perfect truth which comes from God, a judgment which is subject to vacillations and disturbances to one that is ever settled and abiding. Chrysleb's Modern Doubt. p. 130. Pi sb Chrysleb's Modern Doubt, pages 125, 507, it * Manning. * Spinoza. Equals Herbert Spencer's infinite and eternal energy tie which all things exist, is unquestionably pantheism. And the relation and sequence in which these phenomena stand to each other. Mental phenomena can all be resolved into material phenomena, and there is no such thing discoverable as either an origin or purpose in the world, as consequently either a creative or providential intelligence. Respecting the existence of God, or a future state, it is contended that the mind should absolutely refuse to believe or disbelieve on such a subject. Positivism, however, has constructed a kind of religion which has its grand edre in collective humanity, or the continuous resultant of all the forces capable of voluntarily concurring in the universal perfectioning the world, whatever this may mean. 3. Agnosticism, from agnostos equals unknown, the inscription upon the altar at Athens, referred to by St. Paul. In plain English it means ignorance. An agnostic is avowedly a know-nothing in religion. He holds that the existence of anything beyond and behind phenomena is unknown, and, so far as can be judged, unknowable, and especially that a first cause and an unseen world are subjects of which we know, and can know, nothing. The term was first applied by Professor Huxley to himself and others, who, while not denying the existence of an intelligent first cause and a supernatural revelation, yet insist that we do not know anything about these and cognate subjects, and that we have no means of knowing, both because we have no faculties capable of understanding such things, and that there are no methods by which they could be communicated to us. If there be a God, he is unknowable, and so with regard to divine revelation and immortality. As to another life after the dissolution of the body, we are told, no agnostic would categorically deny it, but one thing he will not do, he will not pretend to know, nor profess a belief in, absurdities and contradictions, even though the act be dignified with the sacred name of faith. The agnostic neither denies nor affirms God. He simply puts him on one side. For secularism does not say with the agnostic that God, an unseen world, and a future state cannot be known, but that so little can be known about them that it is our wisdom to give attention chiefly to the present life. Putting the two worlds into two ia selika one private adoration is to be addressed to collective humanity in the persons of worthy individual representatives who may be either living or dead, but must in all cases be women, for women being sexy represent the best attribute of humanity, that which ought to regulate all human life, nor can they be symbolized in any form but that of a woman. Examination of Mr. J. S. Mill's Philosophe, by James McCosh, Doctor of Laws, p. 400. This is an able criticism of, and reply to, the positive philosophy of Comte, and his disciple J. S. Mill. See also an able exposition and answer to positivism, by Reverend William Arthur, Religion Without God, and God Without Religion, Part I, Positivism and Mr. Read Rick Harrison. 2c Acts 17. 23 a 2c The New English Dictionary, by Dr. J. A. Murray, Agnostic, of all the senseless babble I have ever had occasion to read, the demonstrations of those philosophers who undertake to tell us all about the nature of God would be the worst, if they were not surpassed by the still greater absurdities of those philosophers who try to prove that there is no God. Huxley's Science. Scales of value. The secularist finds, or thinks he finds, that the one weighs much, the other either nothing, or nothing that can be appreciated. The old policy of sacrificing the welfare of humanity on earth to the merely possible and altogether unknown requirements beyond the grave the secularist regards as absurd. Secularism assumes that God and a future state are so visionary, that faith in them, and concern about them, is opposed to the welfare of humanity on earth. 5. Materialism recognizes nothing but matter, and denies the existence of spirit or of a spiritual world. The soul is but the result of a peculiar organization of matter, the operations of mind are merely the effect of material forces, there is no existence beyond the grave, and, therefore, no moral accountability. Matter and force are the only entities, and these are sufficient to solve all the problems of the universe. The fundamental affirmation of materialism is, that all the phenomena of the universe physical, vital, and mental are to be referred to unintelligent physical forces, and its fundamental negation is, that there is no such objective entity of mind or spirit. 6. Deism is a belief in the existence of a personal God, but a denial of the necessity and fact of divine revelation, together with the assertion that the light of nature and reason are sufficient guides for man's belief and practice. Of course, in such a theory Christianity is ignored. Deist and theist have etymologically the same meaning, the former from the Latin, the latter from the Greek, but they differ widely in their use. Theist is applied to any believer in God, whether he is a Christian, a Jew, or a Mohammedan, while deiscent is one who believes in God, but who disbelieves in Christianity, or, more accurately, who disbelieves in any supernatural revelation. 7. Atheism equals without God. The absolute denial of a God, or an intelligent first cause, or of a superintending providence. Whatever difficulty there may be in demonstrating the existence of God, it is not conceivable that proof can be found to justify the declaration there is no God. Unless a man knows all things, he cannot know that the being whose existence he rejects does not exist. For the materialist is necessarily an atheist, though he will probably not admit it. The secularist may be a theist, but many avow themselves atheists. The agnostic, and the positivist whose secularism is so protean that it is impossible in brief space to give any exact definition of its teachings or creed. It may be best described as ancient Epicureanism under a new name and garb, XCOR 1532. See an admirable lecture by Ray A. J. Harrison, on Secularism and Atheism, in Popular Objections to Revealed Truth. Hodge. C. Leland's View of the Deistical Writers, Watson's Apology for the Bible, Leslie's Short and Easy Method with Deists. John Foster. Brad Laff says, although at present it may be perfectly true that all men who are secularists are not yet atheists, I put it to you as also perfectly true that, in my opinion, the logical consequence of the acceptance of secularism must be that the man gets to atheism, if he has brains enough to comprehend. Debate with Holyoake, p. 16. Is in fact simply a systematic agnostic, are not theoretically ageists, yet their teachings lead almost directly to that goal. Replies to all these systems of rationalistic unbelief will be found practically in the arguments in chaps INV, which see 11. In what sense can theology be called a science? Science means knowledge. Systematist. By science here is meant accurate, well-founded, and well-ordered knowledge, in whatever manner that knowledge is acquired. The knowledge gained by faith has a right to be considered scientific, if it be well founded, and systematist, as truly as that which comes from observation and reasoning. Its subject matter cannot be mathematically demonstrated, but in its own domain its truths are capable of moral demonstration. Certitude is reached by a different process, but one which in its own sphere is quite as satisfactory as that of mathematics. It is a science of faith, not of credulity. Its evidences are moral, probable, ontological, demonstrative. Its arguments are analogical and inferential, but it is the great business of life to draw inferences, and an inference, whether in science or religion, is an exercise of faith, and can be nothing else. 12. What is dogma? 1. The term dogma is from the Greek dokt, equals to think. It is used to denote the form in which truth is presented or apprehended. It is synonymous with formula, canon, tenet, opinion. It is commonly used to signify an arbitrary article of faith, but that is neither its original, nor its correct meaning. 2. In its ancient use it had two distinct meanings, one in the Old Testament translated by the LXX, and in the New Testament, the other in philosophical writings. In the former it meant a decree, or ordinance, a command as to conduct or observance, either of human or divine authority, as in Dan. 2:13, 15, 6. On Luke 15, Acts 17, 7, or Acts 16, 4, F2 15, Kernel 2. 14. In the dater meaning, Plato, Cicero, Seneca, and others used the word to describe the doctrines and theories formulated and taught by different schools of philosophy. In this latter sense the word came to be used by the early Christian writers, as describing either heathen, Christian, or heretical teaching, as the case might be. 3. Dogma is not peculiar to theology or religion. All sciences, physical, mathematical, logical, have their dogmas. Some of these arise from axioms, others from the results of observation and experiment. The rules and formulas of arithmetic, geometry, chemistry, it is a great mistake to speak of science as inductive and theology as deductive. No science is verified till we can reason deductively from an inductive discovery. We have no right to call it a law till we can rigorously apply it, and account for its apparent exceptions. In the same way theology is only the deductive application of certain inductive discoveries in the open page of God's Word. See also Murphy's The Scientific Basis of Faith, pages 22-35, Chi 106, EOEES The Bidiclopedic Dictionary, Articles Dogma and Doctrine * Revised Version, Interdict. Logic, are so many dogmas or canons, which have, at least in the beginning, to be accepted upon authority. 13. What is dogmatic theology? This designation was first given to theology by a German divine in 1724. It is that branch of theology which systematizes the dogmas or doctrines of divine revelation, and which sets them forth in the form of a connected doctrinal system. Doctrine and dogma are in most instances convertible terms. Dogmatic theology includes 1. Biblical theology, which embraces textual criticism, exegesis, or hermeneutics, archzeology, scriptural geography, history, etc. 2. Historical theology, comprising ecclesiastical history, the progress and development of doctrines, and all that belongs to the external as well as the internal life of the Church. 3. Systematic theology, which comprehends all the foregoing. It takes the system of doctrines as its basis, verifies it by Scripture, and illustrates it from history. 14. In what form has dogmatic theology been presented? Chiefly by ancient creeds and confessions. Example 1. The Apostles' Creed, so called. The Nicene, AD 325. The Athanasian, Chvka AD 600. 2. The Confessions, or formularies of various churches, viz. A. The Lutheran, in the Augsburg Confession, AD 1530, 6. The Reformed or Calvinistic, in the Helvetic Confession, AD 1564, c. The Presbyterian, in the Westminster Confession and Catechism, AD 1647, at. The Anglican, in the 39 Articles, e. The Armenian, in the Remonstrance Confession, AD 1620, f. The Wesleyan, English, in Wesley's Notes on the New Testament, and certain of his sermons, American, Wesley's abridgment of the 39 Articles. 3. The creeds and councils of the Roman, and Russian, or Greek, churches. WASSS Pope's Compendium of Christian Theology, Volume I, pages 27-28. CISD Emma a Necessity, by the Reverend Frederick Merrick 1A SciPE.